Hello everyone, and welcome to Melancholy Mentor, where classic literature meets the vibrant world of radio plays. I'm Fran, and I'm joined by Evan from Mystery Mythos. Together, we're your guides on this creative journey. During each episode, we'll dive into stories featured on the Melancholy Mentor channel, allowing fresh ideas to flourish, inspiring you to dream big and unlock your creative potential. Get comfy, open your mind, and embrace curiosity. Let's get started. Hello, I'm Fran.
And I'm Evan.
And this week we are highlighting the radio drama that we've got on the Melancholy Mentor YouTube channel, Jane Eyre.
Jane Eyre.
Yeah. So Jane Eyre is a novel written by Charlotte Bronte that was first published in 1847 under the male pseudonym Carabel. Would you say that's how it's pronounced?
Carabel.
Carabel. I want to say Curabel for some reason. So a pseudonym is like a different name that a writer uses. And many writers, even modern day writers, use pseudonyms.
Yeah, they do.
Carabel.
Carabel. Yeah, not Curabel, Carabel.
Carabel is spelt Currer and then Bell. So Charlotte Bronte initially used this male pseudonym name. Okay. Ooh, so we're just going to get into something a little bit. She used the pseudonym to protect her privacy, no doubt, but also did not want to be judged based on being a female writer. So at that time, the gender would have been a significant factor.
Yeah.
And a lot of female writers wrote under male names.
Yeah.
To make it look as though a man had written the story. So at some point, and I don't know when, so I don't know whether it was during her lifetime or after. I didn't actually find that out because I didn't look for it, as to whether she started to publish things under her actual name of Charlotte Bronte, which is an interesting little rabbit hole for you all to go down.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, so at that time, they would have faced criticism that a woman shouldn't write. Charlotte Bronte was born in 1816 during the Victorian era. So that's she was born in Yorkshire and also died in Yorkshire.
Wow, yeah.
Died in 1855. And she was only 31 years old.
Wow.
When she passed. So she had two sisters who were both writers as well, Emily and Anne. And between them, they actually wrote several novels. I think Anne's possibly the little known of the sisters. They also had a brother, and their brother was called Bramwell. And I kind of get the impression that Bramwell was a bit naughty.
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
we're not going to say a lot about Bramwell, but by all means, look him up if you're interested in the Bronte family, because it's actually a really interesting part of history and part of English literature as well.
Yeah.
That there were three sisters that all wrote. No doubt, Bramwell maybe wrote as well. And that they were in the Victorian era up in Yorkshire. Now, Yorkshire's, I'm based on the south coast. Evan and I are both based on the south coast, and Yorkshire is up the country.
Yeah, it's north.
Yorkshire is a very big county. I think it's actually the largest county in the UK.
Yeah.
It's known for the Yorkshire moors, and for being cold and windy. And at that time, it was probably quite a hard life, up in Yorkshire. I actually like Yorkshire a lot.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Charlotte
cool.
Charlotte Bronte was the last of her siblings to die. Now, bearing in mind that she was 31, so
Mhm. Yeah,
um, and they lived on the edge of the moors in a parsonage that's now a museum. Right. Now, this museum, I've been wanting to go there for years. And I
yeah,
like Yorkshire. I've got family in Yorkshire and I go there, at least, well, hopefully a couple of times a year, hoping this year. And I've never visited this museum yet. I'm a big Bronte fan. So my
yeah. Gonna have to do it.
I know, I'd love to. It's
Yeah,
one of those things that's been on my list for so many years, and it's one of the things that's quite important to me because I grew up reading classic literature,
yeah,
reading the Bronte sisters' stories. So it's, one of those things that I've always had in the back of my mind to travel to the area where they came from.
yeah,
So the parsonage that they grew up in, I think they were born in a different, maybe little village or little town in Yorkshire, but they grew up in this parsonage that's now a museum. So apparently they were surrounded by books. Uh,
mm,
so the children were surrounded by books and they were passionate about reading, and no doubt passionate about classic literature. So their version of classic literature at the time. So the novel Jane Eyre follows the story of Jane, and she's a simple, plain girl, and follows a story as she battles um, through life and life struggles.
yeah, yeah.
So the novel is in the style of prose. And I'm going to call it prose. I'm not familiar with this. So although I'm a classic literature fan and book reading, I'm not a scholar as such.
Mhm.
So it's the information that we bring to you. A lot of this we're just looking up, doing a little bit of light research and just bringing you some things that are hopefully are facts, especially
Yeah.
when it involves dates and things like that. And I'm pronouncing it prose. It's spelled Prose, and prose fiction. So it tells the story through kind of everyday language,
Mhm.
and it focuses on the characters. So the character development, the plot development and progression, and it's a certain style. So that was quite interesting because I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
So the character Jane Eyre has an unhappy childhood, unfortunately, and some wicked things happen to her. And then she leaves school, becomes a governess at Thornfield Hall,
Hmm.
where, of course, she falls in love with her employer.
Yes.
Um, but the dashing Mr. Rochester, who wouldn't?
Yeah.
Um, and then Mr. Rochester has secrets
Hmm.
that are kind of slowly come to light throughout the story. And it's kind of, a gothic classic literature story.
Yeah.
And it's actually my favourite Bronte story.
Yeah, I thought it was.
Yeah, and one of my favourite actual classic literature stories as well is Jane Eyre.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just like it. The story is actually quite complex.
Mm. Yeah.
Um, and the character of Jane, who appears kind of very plain and, has had this kind of hard childhood and upbringing and faces all these challenges,
Yeah.
rather than kind of being a weak character, she's actually very, very strong.
Hmm.
Um, and I kind of like that.
Yeah.
She had a very sort of strong character. So that character development within the story writing is really, really good.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we've actually got a radio adaptation, like a radio drama of Jane Eyre. There has been many, many adaptations of Jane Eyre, many, too many to mention in this
Yeah.
anyway, because we only do short podcasts. There's been TV series, film adaptations, many audio adaptations, different book covers, different ways of presenting the book over the years. It's a
Yeah.
really, really big story.
Yeah.
So the version that we feature on the channel, you've got some more information about that.
Yeah, I do. This is a Weird Circle adaptation. We've got a few of these on the channel.
Yeah.
The Weird Circle was a supernatural horror and like fantasy radio drama. It aired from 1943 to 1945, was produced in New York, and then it was like broadcast out onto different radio stations after that. There was actually a total of 78 episodes, and it had 2 seasons. And this particular episode aired on the 26th of December, 1943, and was number 18. So, and the video that we've got that you filmed was at Poole Harbour in Dorset, and the actual episode is 23 minutes long.
Okay.
It's pretty
And
good.
where was the Weird Circle actually done?
It was produced in New York.
So it was produced in New York.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So this particular episode that we've got currently has 59 views,
Yeah.
of which we're very grateful, thank you.
Thank
And
you.
I think that this one, so it's what happens is with this is we do this podcast to highlight episodes that we've got on the radio drama channel of Melancholy Mental. We have other YouTube channels. No doubt some highlights of those will be coming soon, hopefully. And the purpose of this is to kind of bring that creativity of not only the writing, but what other adaptations can be done. So whether it's short stories, today's kind of media is all about repurposing content and repurposing it in different ways. So you can video log it, you can, blog it, like writing blog it, you can do audio. There's so many different ways. And there's different ways of bringing these old stories and writers and creators to life.
Yeah.
That's what we like highlighting on this channel. This particular episode that we've got on the YouTube channel, it's actually it's a bit crackly in the background. So the audio's not clean.
No,
It's quite old, isn't it? And it's
pretty
not
old. Yeah.
clean. Yeah, it's not a clean audio. So it doesn't lend itself to the ears as being easy listening. However, we still like to air these ones on the channel because it brings those old audios and those old recordings some new life.
Yeah.
And there are still people that are going to like that vibe.
Yeah.
I've listened to this. I found it a little bit hard going on the ears due to the crackle in the background. However, I love the story of Jane Eyre. So,
Yeah.
I like this episode anyway. Poole Harbour, just to mention, is a working harbour. So what I
Yeah.
do is I go out and about filming, and then we use the film to overlay the audio on top of. And on Evan's channel, Mystery Mythos, on their YouTube channel, it's AI generated.
Yeah. It's AI.
So on mine, it's actually kind of me just going out doing some random filming of puddles and a bit of seaside. And this particular video is actually quite nice because it shows part of the working harbour.
Yeah.
So they've got one of the ships in the harbour. And I was kind of just there with my tripod and my phone, just sort of filming it at the time. So I actually like the film of this one, even though the accompanying audio is a little bit crackly.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go into Yorkshire to visit the Bronte Museum, higher up on my list now.
Needs to be. Yeah.
No, I know. And I feel like it'd be nice to do a little bit of film of it so we can kind of film going and being
Yeah.
just the surrounding area be quite interesting.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to bring that to the channel as well.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it for this episode. So thank you for listening. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in. Contact us at melancholymentor.com. Until next time, keep your minds open and stay curious.